Death Wish Memphis. 2 cases going on in Memphis right now, America's most dangerous city perhaps last year. Payso P just unalived 2 days ago with Sauce Walka, and the gunning down of a pastor in Memphis. Both high-profile cases. Let's talk about them because people get themselves taken out here. So rule number 1 to stay alive is behave in a way that doesn't make anyone want to unalive you. Now, Payso P, who Sauce Walka isn't, going too crazy for on social media, because that was Sauce Walka's artist. Of course, 2 days ago, unfortunately, some guys jumped out of a car, 2 guys, hit them both, stood over them, took out Payso, who's a Memphis native, and supposedly word on the internet streets that I'm merely repeating is that they looked at Sauce Walka and said, "Oh, this wasn't for you. You had nothing to do with this. This was no robbery." People always think it goes back to a dice game. So many of these things. Remember, I always get the member of the Migos that lost his life with the dice game's name wrong. With Takeoff or Offset? Takeoff, I don't know. The one who died at the dice game that Jay Prince Jr. had. The jeweler got killed in one of Jay Prince's other dice games. You got, in the Big U indictment, there's the Adrian Bronner $6 million crooked dice on the NBA player dice games. And anyone who's from the hood knows dice games. You want to get killed, go shoot some dice. And it amazes me, though, these guys are cheating at dice. Payso P, word is he hit somebody for $200,000 with trick dice, and then he's on social media bragging about he will do what he want to do in Memphis. So when you antagonize people that you cheated out of, you stole $200,000 from, and make no mistake, using crooked dice is like you stuck. It ain't quite like you stuck a gun in my face, but it's definitely like you broke in my house. It'll make someone want to do something to you. And when you start talking about those amounts of money, you don't know what. Listen, people be having all their money with them. They could lose the re-up, somebody else's re-up. They could lose their bill money. People lose money at dice games. It's somebody else's money. So how'd you like to get tricked out of it? So that's the word on the Sauce Walka situation. Now, Payso, they were together doing all this social media posting, which is fine. That's part of their marketing.
I know what's going on, man. TSL Memphis shit.
Where we at, though?
And we in Memphis with this shit right now. In the M right now. You know where these rap niggas don't come to.
But they went to the Hilton in downtown Memphis. Oh, that's probably why they were by the Forum. All that in a city like Memphis is probably only 5 things to do, and they're all right next to each other. So they were at the Hilton downtown. Payso P posted and had his location. He dropped the low. Sauce Walka didn't accept the collaboration tag or whatever and didn't drop his location. Interesting, like, you look at Payso P's videos, they got 50, 100,000 views. And whether you like his music or not, you couldn't say it's much. If you didn't like it, it's not like it's a lot worse than Sauce Walka. But the same mentality that didn't make him realize not to be in Memphis or not to be talking like he was talking, that the people he got down on was going to get down on him. That's the same difference in everything you do in life, the intelligence and diligence and focus. Do you make the right decisions? Payso P made the wrong decision. Apparently wants to do what he did and twice to move how he was, thinking what? Does Sauce Walka had built-in immunity, or did he had a bunch of protection? Oh, listen, especially when you're in a place like Memphis where people are getting taken out. You have an ineffective police department. Detroit is like that. Remember, a guy did a story on for telling I didn't make it about that, but I mentioned that in the Telly Hayton case, the same case that BG was in. This hitman Fetty something Fedison was his last name. I did a story about the hanging case. I mentioned Fedison and said he was a federal informant. I mean, he cut a plea, like it's not a mystery. And he was out, and he hit me up on social media, like, oh, I've seen the story. Hey, you should come down and interview. Now, I didn't per se think he was setting me up, and I'm not saying he was, but I just thought, like, New Orleans would be a city, because I've been there before. If I had the slightest, if I thought there was a 1% chance somebody was going to try to do something to me, I'm not going there. New York, you can, I mean, if you feel scary, there's some police around everywhere. LA, you can avoid certain places, but New Orleans, Detroit, Memphis, you got somebody wanting to do something to you there, stay away or move like the military, for real. And then also in Memphis, you have this pastor, if you're not abreast on this case. Now, this might be important for some of you that are into your right to bear arms and defend yourself, which has become... It's amazing how the growth in wanting to carry a gun and shoot people in the last 10 years has spread. Like, in the days when, in the 70s and 80s when Detroit still had extremely high murder rate and it had a lot more people, so it had more murders, there was no having a gun. New York, there was no concealed weapons permit. In any of the cities of the North and East and the Midwest, it was very difficult to get a conceal. You had to be someone that was a jeweler or someone who had a threat made on their life. You couldn't have a gun. It's illegal to have them. There's no story behind them. And now everybody has guns. But anyway, so this pastor is in a bar in Memphis, a pastor in a bar. There's a woman and another guy in a bar. They have some, according to witnesses, they're talking and they get into some argument about religion. They go outside. Arguing about religion, maybe they're accusing him of being a crooked pastor. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. Because they go outside, and the pastor gets aggressive. And he hits the guy, and the guy falls on the ground. The guy that was with the woman. Now, my fellow YouTuber, Real Talk with Tamara, who I get some Memphis info from, she had a little rant about, not rant, but she was saying how that woman, just because the pastor was walking at her, so he knocks the guy on the ground, he turns around, the woman, he's trying to get her phone from her, because I guess she had taped him punching the guy. He goes back towards his truck. She kind of walks behind him to get his license plate number so she can report it to the police. He turns back around and starts coming at her and saying, give it to me, give it to me. She says, stop walking at me, stop walking at me. And he comes, boom, 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 boom. So she's been charged with a manslaughter. She's out on a $100,000 bail. But a lot of people are saying, well, she shouldn't be charged with anything. Real Talk with Tamara is like, no, you can't just shoot somebody for walking at you. Now, Real Talk with Tamara, I think, is a bail bonds woman. So she's familiar with the criminal justice system. She's right. Now, depending on the circumstances of the case, but watch any of these karate, ninja, MMA guys, or even Delta Force. They ask Special Forces, Navy SEALs, hey, what do you do if you get in a street fight? And they say, well, what do you mean get in a street fight? Give me a scenario. No, you're in the street and some guy with a knife is threat. You run. You should always run. Like, this isn't prison where you have to, defend your honor. If someone's trying to hurt you, and if you can, you're supposed to run. Not, you ain't gonna tell me what and shoot him. You can't do that. You will be in jail. You need to run. All you to think because someone talked crazy to you in public and you beat his ass, yeah, you did get charged with assault. You met them type of people in jail all the time. And they couldn't understand, like, well, where am I in jail? Like, no, you beat someone up at a restaurant. Well, but he called my wife a bitch. Well, you're supposed to leave. So once you don't leave, that's cool, but you've now, you're outside of the law. That's just what it is. So just because you got a gun doesn't mean No one can say anything to you or walk towards you or talk loud, and you just shoot them. That's why she charged with manslaughter. She had to make a decision.
I'm backing back 3 times now. When I do that, you know, back the back. Back. I'm telling you, bitch, you know what? I'm backing back 3 times now. When I do that, you know, back the back. Back. I'm telling you, bitch, you know what?
She felt her life was in danger. Now, the part, I don't know if Real Talk with Tamara knew, because she didn't mention it. I'm pretty sure that he hit the other guy, and that guy fell on the ground, which, if this guy had already assaulted somebody who was having a hard time getting up, I think, if that's true, that's what I think I read in one article, I think that does make it much more likely to be justifiable. But I really wanted to tell this story because I want all of you to think about this. Be careful pulling out your gun. If you can leave, it is not your right to take it upon yourself to check somebody, to like, oh, you're not going to punk me out. Now you're behaving like a kid or a criminal or a gang member or something. Someone acting crazy and you can leave, you should leave. You should run. The Navy SEAL tells you to run, because fighting and pulling out a gun certainly can always have an unexpected bad consequence. When guys are going to cell to fight in jail, there's always a chance. I mean, you're fighting over, a card game. Someone hit their head on one of the metal corners and dies. And when you go in front of the judge and that person's family sitting out there, when you say, well, we just went in there because we had a dispute at the tunk table, that's not going to make them want to have mercy on you. That's going to make it all the worse. You're a clown who makes bad decisions, so you don't need to be free. So you got these guns you're carrying all the time for what? I don't know. Look like you're scary to me. I don't know if that's the case in this. I will say again, this was a woman who shot this pastor. I would imagine women in these, especially women in general, you have to understand, women are smaller than men. They get harassed, especially in a dangerous city. I could imagine a woman being uncomfortable and kind of at the edge of being nervous all the time out in public. And here you have a guy walking towards her aggressively. I wouldn't be surprised if they drop her charges down more, but this guy was somewhat of a well-known pastor with friends who are pressing for her to be charged. The prosecutor's already recused himself because he has a personal connection to either the pastor or the defendant, but she is out on bail now. And I'm not telling you what to do, just be careful. Don't think that because someone's calls you a name or walks towards you that you can just shoot them. You can't. That's it. So if you're in Memphis or many other places, be careful. Don't start arguments. Don't rob people. Don't cheat people. Most people, not all, there's definitely innocent people that get hurt, but most people that find themselves a victim of a violent crime, doesn't make it okay what happened to them or whatever, but they're doing things that might make certain type of people want to do something to them. So as a responsible adult, try to do your best to behave in a way to where if someone's bothering you, everyone knows, oh, that's just them, not you. And that is very clear cut. Like, they're going to look at that woman. Did she call 911? If you didn't call 911 and you didn't try to get away from that guy, You can't just go around. It's like they're charging these older white guys for shooting black kids who knocked at their door for the wrong address. You can't shoot someone through your screen door for knocking on the door and say, I thought he was breaking in. You can't just say that. Sitting around looking for an excuse to shoot somebody. I got a close friend of mine. Right when the Michigan carry concealed weapons came out, or the Detroit ones, he got one. And his father had just gotten stuck up at their neighborhood corner store, and he was upset. And I swear to God, he was my coworker at the time too. He was pressuring me. Like, I thought he was joking at first, but he was kind of like, to be his inebriated white decoy at the corner store and act outside, act high or drunk or something, so someone would try to rob me so we could kill him. Like this, he wasn't really joking. And he has since done some vigilante actions, not causing deaths to my knowledge, but he's an angry guy. And I don't blame him. He's, like a lot of us, have had things happen to him, and the system doesn't do anything to protect you. But that's another rant. But when you take that concealed weapons permit, you take on the responsibility for other people's life in your hands. Just like when you get a driver's license. We take all this stuff for granted because nothing bad happens for so long. Another kind of person you meet in jail, there'll always be one or two, is a very regular, it could be a middle-aged black guy, it could be a 20-year-old clean-cut white kid, it could be anybody. It'll be an older Middle Eastern or Hispanic businessman. Could be anybody. But they're not criminal types. They're law, I got a wife and I own this, or I'm in college. And they were drunk driving, they had a friend in the car, and they hit something, and the friend gets hurt, and they have an assault with a deadly weapon charge. Right? You drive 5,000 pounds of steel around while inebriated, you're being irresponsible. You get that gun permit, you better, don't start acting tough. A lot of people, like when I see a guy wants to show guns and let you know what gun he has, I always think, who are you scared of? You just seem like you're scared of somebody to me. I assume everybody got a gun at this point. I would never show you any guns. And please leave the premises if you ever see Al Prophet with a gun in his hand. Please leave the premises. But, yeah, man, just word to the wise. Look at this woman's case. This will be, watch it on court TV if you're one of these gun rights, concealed weapon enthusiasts, which is fine. Not saying it's bad. But it's not, you don't have a license to kill with your license to carry. And we will see the details of this play out in the sterling criminal justice system of Shelby County, Tennessee, who did manage to convict some of the killers of young Dolph, unlike what goes on in some of these municipal entities. But we'll see. Al Prophet, American Dope. Peace to Memphis.